Okay, so we're going to take a look at activating the message thread. I've just noticed we're missing an icon here and we want to update this. So inside the message component, it's not envelope plain, it should be paper plain. And if we go take a look, then that's more like it. Now we've got an icon for the outbox as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a look at the message thread, and the way that we're going to approach this is we're going to add it to this button. But what we're going to do is go to the messages, and this is where the conversation between two users is going to end up. So that's what we're going to work towards here. And what we'll do, we'll go to our message service first of all, and it's getting once again a bit busy at the top there. So I'm going to close all the others down. And what we'll do is we'll say get message thread. And we're not adding pagination to this, we're going to keep it nice and straightforward. So we're going to add the username, which is going to be a string, and we're going to return this.http, and we're going to say get and message, and we'll say this.base URL plus, and then we'll say messages / and thread / plus the username. And it's not that we can't add pagination, by the way, but I try to avoid doing too much repetitive tasks on this course and keep moving forward, introducing new things as we go along. And there's nothing to stop you adding pagination to this as well, and adding the classes necessary to do this. But what we're going to do in this case is just keep it nice and simple and just concentrate on the thread and the functionality inside there. So what we'll do is we'll head over to our member messages component, which we don't actually have at the moment. So we're going to create a new component for our messages. And what we'll do, we'll go to our third tab, and I'm just going to cd up and cd into the members folder, and we'll create a new component called member-messages, and we'll skip the tests and press return. And once this has been created, let's go to the component first of all. So member messages component.ts. And inside here, what we're going to do is we're going to grab an input. And what we need here really is just a username. What's the username of the member that we've just clicked on? Because that's what we're going to send up to go and get the thread itself. So we'll add an input for the username. And this is going to be a string, of course. And then we'll add messages, and this is going to be a type of message array. And then what we'll do is we'll add a constructor, and we'll bring in our message service and say message service. And inside here, what we'll do is we'll just add a method to load the messages. And what we'll do, we'll say this.messageService.getMessageThread, and we'll pass through this.username, and we'll subscribe, and we'll say messages. And because we're not doing pagination, we just get this inside the body of the response. We don't need to pluck it out of there. So what we'll do, we'll just say this.messages equals messages. And what we'll do when we initialize this, we'll say list.loadMessages. And then let's go across to the template just to make sure that we see what we expect to see. So we'll say member messages component HTML, and just like we did before, we'll just add an ng4, and we'll say a-ng4, and we'll say message of messages, and inside here we're just going to add the content. So we'll say message.content, and we'll add the optional chaining operator as well, because we're not doing any checking inside here. And then we can go to our member detail component, HTML. And this is where we're going to add our messages component. So we've finally got something to put in here. And what we'll do, we'll say app-member and messages. And we just need to provide the username property here. And what we're going to set this to is member.username. And what we should be able to do is go test and make sure that we can see this in the browser. So let's go and take a look. And if we click on messages, then we can see our 3 messages, and it's working. which is good. But if we click on Todd and go back to Todd, and let's just refresh this page, then we see a second loading indicator. Once we see Todd loading, then we see a second loading, and that's for our messages. So what they actually do is load as soon as we load the member detail page, and the user might not have clicked on messages. And sure, that's not ideal. And we'll deal with that in this section. What we'll do next is take a look at the HTML we need to add to style this particular component.